Jeff here with you again this week with co-op student Hannah. What are we talking about this week?
This week we're going to be talking about hyper and hypothyroidism.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Where's your thyroid?
So your thyroid is right in your throat here, right under Adam's apple, and it's a butterfly-shaped gland.
So the thyroid produces something called thyroxine, which is a hormone that kind of regulates the body. It's kind of like the little engine in your body. So if you have too much thyroxine, what will happen is your engine's going to run a little too fast, and if it doesn't have enough thyroxine, it runs a little too low. So hyper is too much and hypo is too low. So if you have hyper, what is it like to have hyperthyroidism?
So this will be when your engine is running too hot, so you might be having more sweating issues, feeling very warm, increased heart rate, blood pressure, anxiety, and just feeling a little more overwhelmed.
So Hannah, how do you develop hyperthyroidism?
So you can develop this by type 1 diabetes, genetics, or something called Graves' disease, which is an autoimmune disorder.
So hypothyroidism is the opposite of hyperthyroidism, when you're not quite getting enough hormone. And this can be caused by something called Hashimoto's disease, which is an autoimmune disease that attacks your thyroid, so your thyroid can't produce enough. And the other thing that happens sometimes after postpartum, after women deliver babies, because being pregnant, your hormones kind of go all over the place, and it takes a while after you deliver for the thyroid to kind of get things going again. But what you're going to find with hypothyroidism is kind of the opposite. Your engine's not running quite as well as it should, so your blood pressure is going to be low. You're going to be lethargic, fatigued. You're probably going to be quite forgetful with things. Lower heart rate. You're going to swell a little bit. You're going to take in water, so you're going to put weight on, and you just kind of feel overall crappy and tired. So how do you tell if someone has hyper or hypothyroidism?
So the first thing they do is a blood test. So they'll test for the TSH hormone, which is the thyroid stimulating hormone, which also just tells the thyroid to release hormones. The next thing they'll test for is the T3 and T4 hormone. If that doesn't work, they will also inject a radioactive isotope into the thyroid, and that will just see if it's underactive or overactive.
And the one problem with doing the blood test is the TSH and T3 and T4 test. The range is really large, so you could be still in normal, but it may be too low or too high for you. So I know that a lot of doctors and a lot of naturopaths will instead not rely as much on the blood test, but rely more on your symptoms. So if you're showing up and you're complaining about excessive sweating and you can't sleep and your heart rate is kind of racing and you seem anxious all the time, they'll diagnose that by your history. Same thing with hypo. If you're coming in saying I'm really tired all the time, I'm putting weight on, I'm not that hungry. Again, they'll look at your history and they'll kind of make the diagnosis based on what your history is, instead of relying on the test results, because they can really be obscure as far as telling you whether you're above or below normal. So how do you treat hyper and hypothyroidism?
So for hypothyroidism, the only treatment is medications. So they'll try to give you medications to increase the amount of thyroid hormones being produced.
So with hyperthyroidism, if the medications aren't working, what they can do is they can go in and surgically remove part of your thyroid. The other thing they can do is inject it with radiation and try and kill off part of the thyroid. Your thyroid is a very sensitive organ to radiation, so if people are getting cancer therapy and getting radiation for cancer therapy, one thing they'll probably do is they'll probably be monitoring your thyroid to see how much radiation you're getting, because the thyroid is very, very sensitive to the amount of radiation and can die very easily with too much radiation. So if you like the video today, make sure you share it with your friends and give us a big thumbs up.
If you have any questions, be sure to email us at jgoldsworthy@goldsworthywellness.com. As always, I'm Hannah, and I'm here with Dr. Jeff.
And we've got your back.